I mean, if it's on the internet, we'll be able to find it. And so we were doing that with Labat and all of the ADAs. I was doing that with Labat and all the ADAs. And then the broader group, started to really dig in on Engeron. And we found this Wheatley Alumni Association newsletter, started reading through them. What hasn't been reported yet is hilarious. He always tags clippings of himself in the news in these newsletters. So he's a huge narcissist. All of these articles about Engeron's trial of Trump, he's putting those articles in his own newsletter that he maintains. So this guy is such a narcissist that probably right after he gets out of the bench every night and sees, Trump outside the courthouse making comments, he's looking up his name and reading every single article. And then more than that, he's posting these to his high school alumni newsletters. And while reading through this, because they were a trove of PII, these boomers have the digital hygiene and OPSEC of like an African tribe, dude. Like, it's terrible. They leave their personal phone numbers, home addresses, everything on the internet because they don't know that people can find out a lot of information. They're stupid about what they put on the internet. So Engeron posted all this stuff. I get a good idea of who been married 3 times, 4 kids. I got a good background of who this guy is.
Sorry, you said Engeron's been married 3 times?
Yep, 3 times. This latest one, who, by the way, there's currently stalled divorce proceedings between Dawn Marie. I know Laura Loomer put out some great info on his current wife, Dawn, and her just disgusting tweets about the president. That breaks there's no way that he should not recuse himself. In our federal case against Hunter, the judge was appointed by the plaintiff's daddy in June and also gave money to the plaintiff's daddy, which will probably be the background for a motion of recusal for us. Hernan Vera is our judge in the case against Hunter, and Hunter's dad just appointed the guy to the Central District of California. That's how much of a kangaroo court we're in. But in the federal law, you don't even have to have actual bias. You just have to have the appearance of bias or the plausible possibility of bias to get a recusal, right? The New York state law, we looked this up, and there's no reason why Trump's lawyers shouldn't be filing motions to get a recusal from Engeron, even this far along in the case, because you have the wife making comments about the case itself. She's not just...
I pulled up those tweets yesterday, and I met Laura Loomer for the first time at Mar-a-Lago.
She's done some great work.
Yeah, well, and again, it's not that I'm going to judge anybody or prejudge anybody. I don't know of the consistency errors that she's made that might, make people treat her research with a little bit more scrutiny. So I don't. But how do we know that account? And I showed the tweets. It was retweets and a couple of comments. How do we know that that's Engeron's wife's Twitter feed?
Very good question. And this goes back to her BS statement she gave to Newsweek. She made a statement that she doesn't have a Twitter account. Yeah, she doesn't have a Twitter account. She has an account on X, and she's going to hide behind that. She's going to hide behind the change in names. That's what she told Newsweek. We know it because of different services that we subscribe to, namely Been Verified, Truthfinder, and Truthfinder, that it goes back, that the email account that she used to set up the account resolves to her email.
How do you get that info?
When Twitter was hacked, I'm going to be able to nerd out here. When Twitter was hacked, there was a leak that showed the email account used to create an account, or the email address, used to create an account. That email address is linked to the wife. So she lied to Newsweek. Well, she's going to say that she didn't lie because she rightly said that she doesn't have a Twitter account right now. She has an X account. So the writer at Newsweek got duped because they're idiots probably. But no, that's his wife, and she's just absolutely rabid and feral, like I kept saying. I mean, these are not sane people. She's commenting on the case while her husband is overseeing it.
Okay, so to the extent now that we can definitively say it is indeed her,
it's Dawn Marie Engeron, absolutely.
Okay, that's decent evidence. I don't know how that you can piece it together with the leak and trace it to the email address.
Yes,
amazing.
So these leaks get posted. I am not a savant on the dark web, but these breaches, these hack and leaks, like with Ashley Madison. This is in our report on the Biden laptop. Ashley Madison got hacked. The data got leaked. Hunter's credit card information, address, IP address, and other information were in the leak. That's how we know he had an Ashley Madison account. In the same vein, there was a scraping. I won't call it a hack. There was a scraping of Twitter that allowed people to look at the email address used to create a Twitter account. Dawn Marie's was her email, and we know that based on Truth Finder, been verified in white pages.
Okay, so that's amazing. So it is indeed his wife posting real-time shit posting against Alina Habba, among other things.
Yes, on decisions her husband's made. Like, we're not... What I'm trying to say is, for the devil's advocate, my position is not that the wives of judges can't have political opinions, right? That's not what me and you are saying. They can have political opinions. A wife of a right-wing judge can post, the country's going to hell because of inflation. But what we're saying is a grounds for recusal is the freaking wife posting about decisions her husband judge made that very day.
It's wild beyond belief. And again, yeah, they can have their own views, but even they should have the discretion to not post contemporaneous tweets about pending litigation with their husband.
Yes, let's say that Engeron was not the judge in this case, but was a judge in the same court, right? So let's say Engeron wasn't assigned to the case, but he was still sitting as a justice in the County of New York. Then the argument for recusal would be more difficult, because you could say, hey, it doesn't matter what his wife thinks. Engeron's not presiding over this trial. Sure, his colleague is, but there's enough levels of separation. They don't even have that. And first of all,
it goes from, you can complain about systemic corruption. You can say, look, they're part of a system and judicial corruption, yada, yada, versus individualized bias, where you step down. It's not her involved in a system. It's her commenting on the rulings of her husband. And like they say, happy wife, happy life. I think if Engeron wants to please his wife, that's it's one step below the systemic, and it's at the individual level. It's how
some SCOTUS justices in the National Supreme Court recuse themselves based on financial holdings of their wives, right? Same thing here. He should recuse himself. Oh, another thing, set aside, let's say that Marco Polo hadn't found the email address that was used to create Dawn Marie Engeron's Twitter account. So we didn't have that hard evidence. Just her reaction alone was enough to prove it was her. She made it private within the hour.
Well, they were
scurrying like rats.
I've made that mistake once before with that Dr. Solnat who allegedly put out a tweet that said I would get the vax again, and they refused it out of selfishness. And then I said, is this real? And then when I went back, I was blocked, and I said, well, she blocked me, therefore it has to be real. I set that aside. It could be a parody account. It could be someone trying to sabotage her. But no, linking it back to the email address, that's satisfactory to me. But what's the story? This is his wife now, but there's also, Laura was reporting on something about his son being in the courtroom and being involved in some activist organization.
Yes, this is why this is actually, in my opinion, more juicy of a story. So for people who just tuned in, we found these bonus torso photos and creepy. By the way, the photo is not in itself, in a vacuum, scandalous. A lot of narcissist and workout people post these before and after photos, right? So for the record, we're not saying that alone is scandalous, all right? So people who've never heard me before, I know people do before and after photos, and they're proud of their figure, and they worked hard for it. That's not what we're saying. We're saying this dude is a freaking creep because he posted this on his high school alumni.
I'll say this. Yes, he could be doing, look, I lost 100 pounds. I'm 75 years old, looking good.
He doesn't look terrible for 74, right? But he looks he looks creepy. And the reason why we're doing this is because this guy does not have good judgment. He's doing this on a high school alumni newsletter.
Alumni means it's not like only for his class. There's probably 3 people left of his class. This is for alumni, anyone who's graduated. So there could be a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid on there. There could be an 18-year-old girl looking at this. An old dude saying, hey, check out, and blocking his wang. He's not wearing underwear there. I just can't get with that.
He's naked.
His nipples and that sternum thing looks like a nose, and then it looks like a smiling cat or some demon in his chest. It's not about. It's about the judgment overall. But I said this,
and the overall thesis by the way, we found this by accident. We couldn't. It was hilarious to us. We had to put it out. It's like, this guy's totally not serious. These are not serious people. These are not. These are people who have demented minds. They don't have sound judgment. They're total narcissists. This guy posts articles about his own rulings.
Well, that's where I was. That's what I said yesterday. It's like, the wildly inappropriate posting of semi-nudes. It's gross. It's disgusting. It shows something's wrong with him, but not necessarily judicially wrong.
Yes.
This is where it proves something is judicially wrong with him. I talked about it yesterday. He's posting links to his own decisions, and this is where I just realized today, this was a very, very contemporaneous website. Like, this was live and up to date as of September 23rd.
No,
that is
as of October 26th, even, David. He's doing it as of 2 weeks ago. In fact, they hilariously have a Substack of this, and he has made Substack posts throughout the trial. This is like the biggest thing that's ever happened to him.
Wow.
That's why I'm so happy we revealed this. And more than the wife being biased, Laura and we did not find this. So all credit goes to Laura about Ian. His son Ian was employed by the court, got positions by the court, was in court that day, and is basically just riding out the nepotistic gravy train because his daddy's a judge, which I think is more important than the wife stuff.
It's more important than the shirt. The shirtless, the topless. It's more important than the wife stuff. But this is like all of it together. It's like a Minority Report orgy of judicial bias. I mean, it's systemic. This is systemic. The judge's bias. I don't know who found the original speech that he gave 8 years ago about having the tools to,
Yes, can we play that?
Oh, I'll find it again. I had it lined up.
There's a great account on Twitter that I'm honored to. We want to hire him to do some work for us. Maze Moore, and he cut out the best. He found the best clips of it and just did a montage. Maze Moore.
Yeah, Maze M-A-Z-E Moore.
Yeah,
let's see here. Maze Moore. Okay, let's see how many 10,000 posts. So I should be able to find this pretty easily. Scrolling through.
I think it's in the Gateway Pundit article from yesterday. I can find it.
See if you can find that. I'll find. Let me see here. I know I put it up a few times. Viva Frei, Engeron tweet. Yeah, I had it all lined up, and then I screwed up my. Here we go. I got it right here. This is not the long one, but here. Boom. Incognito. The incognito wouldn't show me the inappropriate picture of Engeron's. Okay, it wouldn't show me Engeron's body in incognito. Here we go. Which one is this? 122.
I had one last thing to say about tools.
Yes.
A lot of what I do involves motions.
Motions.
These summary judgment motions I mentioned. And all right, am I following the law or am I making law?
It's wild.
Okay, I'm following law. I'm an impartial referee, but it's hard to factor out my own emotions. And I have tools. Somebody can say, well, Your Honor, you have to throw out this case because it's just like another case. Well, is it just like another case? What if the defendant was wearing a red sweater instead of a blue sweater?
It's amazing. He goes on, I can prevent someone from making an argument. Just estoppel. You said something different in this case or even another case, prevent you from making that argument. And then you put that together with how he's denied Trump all of his defenses. Can't have a political bias from Leticia James. Can't have worthless clause provision. All of those arguments thrown out by the judge who's saying I have the tools to implement my bias in a file. I wanted to show the part where, oh no, that was
yeah,
it.
And he doesn't get a jury. Also in that video, as you know, he said, juries get it wrong. Yep. And it's not just the, 1 out of 100. Juries can get it wrong, no doubt. But he was so flippant about it and saying that, how could they ever reach this conclusion?
Well, he prefaced it even more. He said, what I'm about to say now is controversial, and I'm going to say it even though I'm on camera. I bet he didn't think it was going to get to this level of being on camera. Juries get it wrong. And I've got a tool, jury nullification. Nullification notwithstanding a verdict. It's JNOV. It's judgment notwithstanding a verdict. JNOV. I could just set it aside, and I've done it twice. Overturned once, confirmed once, so not bad, even though it's controversial.
There's a binding connection to this, David.
Oh, now please do it.
So Devin Archer, for the second time, is appealing to the Supreme Court because his conviction in an Indian bond fraud case in the Southern District of New York was given a new trial by Ronnie Abrams, who is married to Greg Andrews, who was the lead prosecutor of Paul Manafort for Robert Mueller. And so Ronnie Abrams, sister of Dan Abrams, who you know, she granted Archer's motion for a new trial, which was reversed by the Second Circuit because Ronnie Abrams thought she knew better than the jury. So one of the last holdouts, and one of the great things about our Anglo-American tradition, is the jury. You get and I know what the Bill of Rights says. It's all criminal proceedings, right? Which is why they're even allowed to do this to DJT, because it's not a criminal proceeding, meaning they don't have to give him a jury trial in a civil proceeding. But I love jury trials. I think it's one of the last holdouts. I love that Sam Bankman-Fried got convicted by a jury of his peers because, first of all, it's a high bar to get a conviction. You got to have it's got to be unanimous, beyond a reasonable doubt. But there's so much beauty around a jury of one's peers, and the fact that everybody is afforded one as a right. And I think that what Engeron has done, like you said, is take away every lever for some person who's not biased to have any effect on this trial.
It's Alex Jonesing Donald Trump. They do not have a trial on the substance, on the merits. They have a trial on the damages of the foregone default verdict in Alex Jones's case. And here, summary judgment, the tool by which Engeron ruled Trump guilty of fraud vis-a-vis Mar-a-Lago. And if that were the only thing, if it were only that one video, it would have been enough. Then you throw in the wife. Then you throw in the son. Then you throw in the perversion. This is systematic. It's a takeover. This is election interference, and this is a takeover of democracy.
I agree completely. And all we did in our Substack piece and on our Twitter is put out the facts. Everybody can go follow those hyperlinks. Read them for yourself. It's him. It's crazy. We're just revealing to people for who they are. That's all we've done. And it's a joke.
No, you could not write this into a movie and have people believe it. It's so preposterous. Is there anything else on Engeron are there venues that you're continuing to look? Is there anything else that you haven't disclosed yet, or are you just like,
yeah, waiting? We're looking through now everything with Ian, because I think there's obviously a portal to make complaints about judges, but if there's anything with Ian that we can basically compare to Joey and Hunter. This is Joey and Hunter on a much smaller scale. Daddy's the judge, give some gives to the son. So that's we know the wife had a Twitter account. We know that he's a pervert who's a narcissist. But we're going to be really digging into Ian and the clerk, because we have no gag order, right? Jesse Waters called him Judge Nudie, and I love that. That's what we're going to be calling him from now on, the male version of Judge Judy. So Judge Nudie is a nepotistic, narcissistic creep, and we're going to be digging into Greenfield. She's running for a seat right now, the portly clerk who was hubby with Chuck Schumer. She's running for the seat in New York City, and so we're going to be obviously doing things that make people aware of what she's been doing in this case. Because first of all, like I said, Dawn and the judge are estranged by all accounts. We looked at the docket in Nassau County Court where they live on Long Island. There was divorce filed. The male was actually the plaintiff against Dawn in November of 2020, but there's been no finalization. So I think they're just estranged, which could go in his favor. Which could say, hey, she's my wife, but she has no bearing on my biases because we're estranged. We're just both leftists. So, haha. But I think that one of the beauties of us putting this out there is we don't know what we'll find next. This is the bonus torso photos are just creepy things from Judge Nudie. But once people start looking into this guy's background, who knows what we're all going to find?
I was trying to find the Jesse Waters video where they
Judge Nudie. Go to our page.
Well, did Jesse was their verification, their due diligence, your due diligence? I don't want to
Yes,
start
they
a
just
fight.
copied us.
Okay. I mean, it's the ultimate flattery, but it would have been nice for them to mention you by name during the report.
The only reason why I wanted on the show was to talk about the other things that you're letting me talk about right now, which is our position is not that he needs to be fired for being a creep and posting before and after photos. That's not our position. Our position is that he needs to be looked into further. Ian, let's do a deep dive on Ian. I would have loved to have the platform on Waters' show to say, hey, oh, and by the way, the dad is a creep, absolutely, and a narcissist who posts links about his own rulings to his alumni Facebook or newsletter. But he also has a son who's employed or was employed by the court and was in court when Trump was in there testifying. So that, again, is where the public should be focusing on. This ridiculous selfie thing is just it's an appetizer in a weird way. It's a terrible analogy.
It's just a cherry on top.
It's a thing to get your attention.
It's judicially irrelevant, but character-wise very relevant.
Yes.
But the judicial corruption is through the roof. I was reluctant to retweet Laura Loomer's tweet because mistakes happen, and you don't want to put someone who's a total stranger.
When we get off the line, I'll send you the email address that Dawn used to create the Twitter account.
No, forget that. Okay, fine. We'll talk after. And so now you're looking into Ian, the son,
yes,
the clerk who's chummy with
Allison
Chuck Schumer.
Greenfield, the one who was
And
really smiling with Chuck Schumer.
Who knows what can be found? But my goodness, knowing the skeletons they all have had in their closets up until now, I would be crapping in my boots if I were them, because you can't. It's forever. People, I operated on the basis that the internet was forever as of 2007. Like it's forever. You can't hide yourself. It will never go away, and people will find out. And live a good life. Keep your schmeckle in your pants, and you'll be very, very happy.